This is a little story about being on the road and telling jokes in smoke-filled comedy clubs. They say that everybody's fear is speaking in public. Well, that makes funny even harder. You get up on stage and you tell your little comedy skit and you hope that somebody will like it and maybe send you on the road. Make upwards of $10. Just enough to keep Telus off your case. Now, people like to laugh when there's nothing but bad news around and their life is empty and they just need some humor, they need some happiness, so they go to a comedy club. And they hope that there's a comedian there that can take them away from all that ails them. Now, comedians always tell you that when they're on stage, they're trying their best, but that isn't always true. Because most comics are funnier on the way to the club in the car than they are behind the mic. And that's the hardest thing about stand-up, is being yourself. But occasionally there's moments, small moments of a comic's life. It's like an oasis of creativity, where all the comedy gods come together and shine a light on him or her in their moment of refuge. Mine came on September 12th, 2001. It was the day after 9/11, and I thought that people were in dire need of some happiness. So I went to the open mic at a local comedy club and I asked for some mic time, and they said sure. Place was half empty, but the people that were there, they were there. And just before I walked on stage, a local celebrity walked into the club. I've never seen him before or heard of him, and I'm sure he could say the same thing about me. I always tell people, maybe you've never heard of me, but near Moose Jaw, I'm a god. His name was Mr. Giggly. He was a clown. And he was painted in green, and he was wearing a green suit, and he had balloons in his hands and a small ukulele, and he begged for 10 minutes in front of me, and the club gave it to him. So Mr. Giggly went in front of me in the comedy club and did his comedy clown magic. Now, I am not judging Mr. Giggly, I am judging him. He went on stage and he talked like Pee-wee Herman. He did not have his own voice, my friends. Can I get a hallelujah? And he proceeded to do 10 minutes of comedy that had absolute silence. Because comedy club patrons, they want to hear some heart. They want to hear some vulnerability. They want to hear your secrets. And this was something that Mr. Giggly was incapable of. Hiding behind his green clown makeup and his green suit. I am not judging him, I'm judging him. He gets off the stage, and that's when I went on. I proceeded to dust that audience off the plate like I was a pitcher throwing a perfect game. I said, people, yesterday was a bad day. A lot of people died yesterday in New York when those towers fell. And I hope those terrorists that did it, I hope they die in hell. But I said, everybody in those two towers, they had a choice. They could go down in the towers, or they could spend 5 more minutes listening to Giggly the clown. They all chose to die. Me, oh my. And I got off the stage, and guess what? Well, I made a clown cry. I made a clown cry. Me, oh my, I made a clown cry. Ooh, I made a clown cry. Woo-hoo, I made a clown cry. I don't care how you try, how hard, you'll never make a clown cry. I get off the stage and Mr. Giggly's in tears, and he says, "You do not have the right to say what you did. You might be a comedian, you might have some funny skits, you might have some good jokes, but you do not have the right to make me, Giggly, a local legend in the clown market, cry." Me, oh my. All I was thinking is, oh my God, I made a clown cry. There was a woman standing next to Mr. Giggly. She was his manager, matriarch. And she got in my face and she said, "You might not know who Mr. Giggly is, but he is a force in the local clown market." And she said, "We will never be back to this club again. You will never see Mr. Giggly again." I made a clown cry. I made a clown cry. Ooh, I don't care how hard you try, you'll never make a clown cry. Well, Mr. Giggly and his manager walked out of the club, and the manager of the comedy club walked up to me. She said, "Oh my God. Whenever you get introduced, you don't tell them you've been on a comedy show. You don't tell them you've been in comedy clubs. You don't tell them how many bands you opened up to them. The first thing and only thing is you say is, you made a clown cry. You're a legend." Oh my God, Sveen, you made a clown cry. Ooh, 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 I made a clown cry. I made a clown cry. Ooh, I don't care how hard you try, you will never make a clown cry. Sorry, Mr. Giggly.